James Randi/partner Alvarez, celebrated plantation artist, to plead guilty in identity theft case. November 3, 2011. The celebrated plantation artist known as Jose Alvarez, who lived and worked under an assumed name, stolen more than 20 years ago, will plead guilty either to passport fraud or aggravated identity theft, his attorney told a judge Thursday. Alvarez's true name is Davy Pena, 49, and he is the longtime companion of magician James the Amazing Randi, 83, a renowned professional skeptic who has dedicated his life to debunking people who profess to have paranormal powers. Actually, since Victorian times, just the common magician's trick of fraudulent claims of fraud toward mediums for self-promotion. Reader is reminded most of these magicians, off-stage, write books, most admitting to believing in the paranormal, despite their on-stage anti-paranormal bluster. One magician, Thurston, even apologized for lying publicly, realizing the damage he had done. Pena Alvarez, 49, was arrested September 8 under the name John Doe at the plantation home he shared with Randi. For decades, he was charged with using the name, date of birth and social security number of a New York man to travel the world on a United States passport first issued to him in 1987, by which he traveled to Sydney Opera House to engage in a fake mediumship scam that fooled no one for very long, managed by James Randi, and was humiliatingly exposed on Sydney TV by newscaster George Negus. It became known as the Carlos hoax. Adjacent video. The Venezuelan native's trial on the federal charges, which are punishable by up to 12 years in prison, was set to begin as soon as next week, but his attorney, Susan Dmitrovsky, won a postponement until January, while she negotiates a plea deal with prosecutors. She told U.S. District Judge Daniel T. Caherly that the plea deal is complicated by immigration issues, since Pena could be deported after pleading guilty. There are big immigration consequences, she said. Dmitrovsky said she hopes to consult with high-level U.S. immigration and customs enforcement officials ahead of the anticipated guilty plea, in an effort to get assurances Pena will be able to remain in this country. "I don't know how successful you are going to be," Hurley told her. "If it is impossible to get such assurances," Dmitrovsky said, Pena, who is free on bonds totaling $1.5 million, could be taken back into federal custody until further immigration hearings are held. And here is evidence James Randi misrepresented the success of his 1980s infamous Carlos Jose Alvarez hoax. The Skeptic magazine, anti-paranormal magazine, funded by CSICOP, in 1988, reported the Carlos hoax as a failure. Quote, "It should be stated to a certain extent the whole hoax backfired. The media were extremely cynical, if not skeptical, of Alvarez claims, and he received no sympathetic coverage at all." Ironically, the TWT program did check with one authority in the U.S. for a view on the channeler. That authority was James Randi, laughing out loud. On the 60 Minutes program, it was claimed that Alvarez would not have had the audience he did at the Opera House, and the potential sales therefrom, had the media coverage been more aggressive and factual. The hall was packed, the program said, screening interviews with the credulous and deluded who had come because they saw it on TV. Australian skeptics came, as we had seen it on TV, too. The hall was by no means full. Our estimate put the audience at about 250 to 300 out of Sydney's 4 million people, as opposed to the 60 Minutes 400 to 500. The drama theatre holds a maximum of 550. A large percentage of the audience were skeptical, if not skeptical, with an even larger proportion thus unconvinced, after the session was over. We subsequently learned of many who, having intended to attend, had been turned off by the poor performance Alvarez had given on TV. That's from The Skeptic magazine. The less than half-full hall was free entry even after TV and media promotion about the great Carlos. The hoax set up, involving Randi, Alvarez, Grillet, Penn, and Teller, and the 60 Minutes TV company was not a success, but Randi, as usual, later claimed great success, and today gullible skeptics accept his version of events. The hoax apparently cost about $50,000 to $200,000 to set up. So there you have it, readers. Alvarez, Pena, the fake Carlos medium, managed by James Randi, ridiculed by the Sydney press, in 1987, to plead guilty to aggravated identity theft. He was arrested on Randy's plantation property, in Florida. And what of James Randi? A 20-year hoax in his own house went undetected, laughing out loud, a federal crime. Oh, but he was the manager of Alvarez/Carlos/Pena, and the fake passport was organized by whom? What name comes to mind? Laughing out loud,